I'd like to call this meeting of the Clay County Commission to order. We will begin with our invocation, if everyone would please stand. Our invocation canceled on us tonight, so I would just do something very quick. If we could bow our heads. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be here. Help guide us to make sure that we are the kind of servants for our public and for our people that you would have us be. Help us to deliberate in the best interest of our people and help us to see your way in all things. With that, we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte?
Here.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Here.
Brings us to approval of the agenda. Is there a motion? Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion has been made for the approval of this evening's agenda. Discussion. Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
With that, next issue is public comment. Are there any members of the public who would like to comment to the commission on any issues of interest to them? Seeing none. That brings us to discussion items. Director, if you would please introduce that, and then we will begin that part of our agenda.
Yes, Commissioners. We have with us Josh Campbell, who is the Executive Director of the Missouri Energy Initiative. He's here to discuss the PACE project program.
If you would please, and this goes for anyone who wants to address the commission, make sure that the green light on the microphone is on. Speak clearly into the microphone, stating your name, and then proceeding with your statement. So please go right ahead, sir.
Good evening. My name's Josh Campbell. MEI, the nonprofit that I'm the executive director of, is Missouri-based. It is made up of energy stakeholders from around the state, utilities, renewable energy, traditional energy, academia, industry. Our goal is to help grow Missouri through energy-related economic development and facilitate collaborations that solve Missouri's current energy issues. And that brings me here today. We launched Show Me PACE, a statewide clean energy district in 2015 at the request of contractors and financiers to help build a program that was transparent, responsive. And I'd say what you'll see here today is that has been successful. We also have our model for growth is we look for local community members who want to use PACE, and then when they come to us and we're not in that said community, that's when we come to you. We are not here to be a solution in search of a problem, but we are here to be a solution when there is a problem. So we do have a property owner who wants to do a project due to, it is a solar project, due to federal tax credit issues. They're trying to get it done before the end of the year. So I do appreciate your time. I believe you all have the PowerPoint in front of you. For those of you who don't know what PACE is, it is a statutory program that came out of statute in 2010. It is a public-private partnership that allows the Clean Energy District, in our case, 100% of the time, a third-party financier and a property owner to utilize the property taxing mechanism on that single property to leverage energy efficiency or renewable energy upgrades for that property, making it more efficient for that property owner, more likely of that property owner staying in that property, and being able to use the savings to benefit that business and the surrounding community. There is no public dollars involved in these projects, and there is no staff time on behalf of the county when these projects come through. So what can be financed, as I mentioned, anything, I like to say anything that can save energy and save money. Small to large, you put them together, from tuck pointing to windows to roofing, it all works. The goal is over that term that property owner saves money. And there is a component in the statute that requires that the property owner save money. And it says that there must be an energy savings and an economic benefit. And to that extent, we have what we call a savings to investment ratio. That allows us to be able to be as confident without having to pay for someone to come every year and track it, to be confident that there will be savings on that property and protect that property owner when they're putting in the energy efficiency components. The benefits for the county. It is an economic development tool that you do not have to use your own money for. It increases property values. It can protect that tax base. As I mentioned, that property owner is going to stay there longer with a more secure, cost-effective business. What we've seen is, as you're aware, energy efficiency jobs, these are construction jobs, they're local, which definitely helps. The difference between, we get the question a lot, the difference between commercial PACE and a traditional PACE loan. The key facts that you see here is that PACE is paid at the end of the year just at the same time in the same way as a property tax. That means if you install a component and you do it in the first half of the year, your first payment isn't until the end of the year, allowing you starting to reap those savings from putting in those energy efficient components. Additionally, because it's paid once a year, if you're in a seasonal business, you can ride those ebb and flows out using PACE and not have to worry about the monthly payment that you usually get in traditional financing. It's transferable. And many consider it off book, which is the value and up to 100% of the project cost, both soft and hard, can be applied. Our process, as you can see here, we, on the left-hand side, you'll see we not only run Show Me PACE, we also run the St. Louis County program and the City of St. Louis's program. But we have two ways that projects can come to us. We are an open market program. So one way, and that's how this project came to us, is the property owner reached out and said, I'd learned about PACE, I'd like to see if I can use it here. So when we get that, we have a stable of more than 20 capital providers, and based off of the information they provide us, we send it to all qualifying capital providers, those that would be interested in that project. And then there's direct communication between the property owner and the capital provider. We are not party to it. They get to choose the capital provider that they want. After that choice is made, they go through the process to get the materials together for us to approve, make sure that it follows state law. The other option is the capital provider brings it directly to us. And then annually, we send out a invoice to the property owner. Here in Clay County, we would be doing a third-party billing system. We use Amerinet, which is an international governmental servicing agent. They do the entirety of Puerto Rico, as an example. Over $15 billion in public sector collections is what they do. So we use them to bill that out. They service that, get the money from the property owner, and send it on. So we would not be accessing the county collector's duties or roles in that process. When we do get a project, though, we do send it to your county collector and assessor to ensure that they know that this has happened. If you're going to assess, this property has had an improvement, or if there are any other concerns that you have, that they're aware of it, but no action is required. So that's kind of the basics and the technical part. I wanted to show you here what PACE has done in Missouri. You can see hospitality is the #1 use at over $95 million, all the way down to agriculture with $15 million. And that includes some medical marijuana facilities as well. You go to the next slide. When you look at the state across St. Louis Metro is outpacing Kansas City as far as PACE financing and economic impact. And I do want to be clear, we've as of last week, we're now up to $350 million in PACE, closed the project at the Lake of the Ozarks, and the economic impact is almost $2 billion. There's the resort, if you heard about it recently at the Lake of the Ozarks, was using PACE for that. And I also want to be clear, when we talk about economic impact, I'm not talking about this business will then go and hire these other 15 people. And so we are simply saying that construction jobs to do that single project, so $350 million in PACE, leverage $2 billion in local economic development. Here you can see the size of the projects, PACE funding by year, over almost $100 million in 2024. We will exceed that this year. But you can also see the size of the projects themselves increase. That is something that we're working on. Personally, want to be able to find smaller projects, help that community. That is just the way the market seems to be going right now. But we continue to work and collaborate with local lenders to build a network and opportunity. If you're looking for the hierarchy of how it works, there's the PACE funding. The customer is the one that is in charge of the contractors as well as the capital providers. The district itself works with the customer, works with the board. The one thing that we do ask of the county is that you would name someone to an advisory board. So every single community over the 120 that we operate through those 3 districts, there is a member from the community that sits on the advisory board. We have an annual meeting. We make sure that that individual is updated throughout the year, but at the annual meeting, we'd like to hear if you've heard anything. Are you hearing positive things, negative things, things that we could change? Give you an update about what we're doing, both on the technical side as well as the public side. So as I had mentioned, what we are asking is that the county pass an ordinance for the Show Me PACE Clean Energy District. This would apply only to the commercial components. There is no residential program within Show Me PACE. No cost to the county, no additional workload. We handle all administration and no exposure or liability to the municipality throughout the process. And that is my last slide. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have and do greatly appreciate the time that you provided tonight.
Thank you very much. I just want to reiterate something, and that is this applies only to commercial uses. We had, some years ago, before this body, we had heard the same kind of a program, but it was more broadly and it was included residential. So I just want to make sure that the distinction is there for those of us who were here for that this is a different sort of a program.
Yes, while Missouri law does currently allow residential PACE, the ordinance that we had provided you and your staff specifically outlines that it is only applicable to commercial. So even if something else happens in the future and residential comes back to Missouri, because right now no one is really providing it, what we're telling you is we would not provide that even if it did come back.
Thank you.
We'd have to come back for another ordinance to do that.
Commissioner Carpenter, because Commissioner Wagner has had experience with this with Kansas City, I'd like to recognize him first, if that's okay with you. Commissioner, if you'd like to kind of give us some insights based on your experiences. There we go.
Sure, and thank you, and thanks for being here, Mr. Campbell. I guess I have been voluntold to speak because back in my day in Kansas City, I helped sponsor bringing both Missouri Clean Energy District and Show Me PACE to Kansas City, and at that time, everyone was kind of doing both the residential as well as the commercial, which has since kind of died out. I think I'm just kind of here to say that what you see as far as what is being asked is very much in line with what that's always been. You know, the idea, very simply, is if you can save on your energy bills, then the repayment mechanism, in a sense, kind of pays for itself. I mean, that's really what it's supposed to be at its basics. But I think, and especially since we see energy isn't getting any cheaper, that this becomes a mechanism to help those who want to create those savings and have those savings. But I think I just really will end just by reiterating that as we talk sometimes about state law and its various idiosyncrasies, what it has pertaining to this is a jurisdiction has to agree to join it in order to be able to get the benefit of it. So that's why now, over 10 years ago, we did that in Kansas City, so that those folks who wanted these sorts of projects had the ability to do them, because Kansas City became part of those districts, and that's basically what's being asked for here. So There is no extra responsibilities for us. I think the ability to join an advisory board, whoever would like to do that, to be able to convey some of those issues that maybe the county is experiencing would be great. But certainly from a standpoint of extra things for staff, extra things for us to agree to do, that is not part of PACE legislation, and that is certainly not anything we would expect should projects come forward. So having been through that rodeo a couple of times, I'm very much happy to have the county join that, because people are looking for ways to finance projects, and this is certainly as legitimate as one as there is. So I'll leave it at that, just to see if there's any other questions that I can help answer if I need to, and good to see you again.
Yes, same to you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Carpenter, thank you for your indulgence. Please proceed.
Anything for Commissioner Wagner, he knows that. When did Show Me Pace stop doing residential?
2022,
And
2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why did that happen?
So it was a combination of things. One is the state statute changed, and the way that a residential lender was able to finance projects, as in the size of a property and how much of that property's value they could finance, changed. So the evaluation, became longer, and part residential pace is about speed. And then the second was that Missouri, the average home price when this all started was like $160,000, $180,000. Every single residential PACE program that launched in California, where the average home price is, $600,000 to $800,000. And when you look at 10 to 15 to 20% of that, there's a lot more work that you can do. So there's a lot more gap between the cost and the financing cost, the cost of the project and financing costs. So there's a lot easier to make money in that sense. And so that would be number one. Number two is that was also the time when the financial market was changing. And because PACE is about, residential PACE is about speed, they had a warehousing financing entity that would lend them money at a certain rate. They'd then go out, they would then go out and they would secure projects. They'd bundle those, put them into the bond market to then pay back the warehousing market and have that cycle. Problem was that by the time that the warehouse market put in at that rate, we saw rates go up and down, so the warehouse folks were losing money, and then they couldn't move fast enough. So they lost their warehouse partner, i.e. the input of those funds. I think that's the simplest way that I could put it. I know that there are other theories, but from the national folks that I talked to, like the hard numbers, they would have fought through all the other hiccups that residential PACE has had, that they've had in California, Florida, here, but that just market itself dried up.
So that's a nationwide shift or just Missouri?
During that time frame, California's market was reduced by like 80%. Florida is the stalwart right now for residential PACE. Residential PACE is only in Florida, California, and technically in Missouri, but no operators in Missouri.
Okay, because I know there were criticisms of the program. I think I recall people suggesting that maybe people were going door to door and kind of taking advantage of people. I can't recall the specifics of what the critique was. So that's part of what I'm trying to draw out. And also curious to what extent that would or would not apply to commercial. So the state legislation that passed in 22, was it?
2010.
Well, no, I mean the more recent legislation.
Oh, yes. Not 22,
More like
19 or 20, I think is what, because then it took a year to implement and see the ramifications. They limped along for a year. So yeah, I think Commissioner's correct. It's 19 or 20.
Okay, but you said that y'all stopped in 22. Is that
21 or 22. I don't remember the exact date. It's kind of.
So we used to have an elected collector. We now have an appointed collector. Our previous elected collector, I know, opposed PACE implementation. here in Clay County. And so I just don't recall especially specifically why, other than, she had some kind of bad experience with it, obviously. So can you speak to that at all? And if those issues do or do not carry over to the commercial side?
In my opinion, the only thing that carries over from the residential to the commercial is the statute and the way that mechanism works as it affects the property tax. Residential is driven by the contractor, your roofer, your HVAC person, right? It happened in two ways, whether the roofer or solar person was going to your house door to door like they do now, or as Missouri's always had to deal with after a tornado or strong storm. What's the one thing that the Attorney General's office always says? Make sure that you understand who that contractor is and they are registered in Missouri for claims. And so there were backstops within the program to make sure that the contractors were filing within that. But anytime that you have thousands of contractors, you have some hiccups. So I think there is that issue. The other one where we differentiate, that's not how PACE works. 100% of the PACE clientele are sophisticated business owners. When they see a savings, they're going to put it back in their business to make their business grow. Secondarily, and something I failed to mention earlier, is that in commercial PACE, we require mortgage lender consent. So if there's a mortgage on that property, capital provider and property owner have to go to the local bank who holds that mortgage and get them to consent to the PACE assessment. If they don't consent, it doesn't happen. That is not required by statute. That is something that we have within our program documents. It did not occur in residential. I think that was a concern. And I'd rather not guess as to why the former collector did or did not like it. I spoke with her multiple times, and she had many reasons that I feel we had evidence data to dispute. But I do know that there were definitely people who did not like the residential PACE program. I can tell you that I have yet to meet someone in your position, I met with the bankers, the Missouri bankers, Missouri independent bankers several weeks ago. And while they are, anytime you put another loan on a property, that's not their money, that they haven't evaluated, it's not theirs, there may be some concern, but they see the value in commercial PACE. They will tell you the complete opposite with residential PACE, being candid. But local governments, economic developers, state officers, finance folks, they see the value in commercial PACE because it takes a while. It's not a 5-day thing. It takes months usually to get these projects done because of the underwriting that goes into it, the lender consent, talking with that person, our review and underwriting to verify that they're following state statute, and then the final closing. So I do think there is a big difference between commercial and residential. The CFPB, who I met with multiple times on residential, completely understood the difference and had no interest in commercial PACE.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it makes sense that there would be a number of differences, and you laid them out pretty well. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Lawson.
So when you say that we join, is there a fee for us joining that? Okay.
No, Commissioner.
The other thing, while I see that this could be of benefit to some businesses, I think I'd like to have a discussion with our assessor and collector together and say, this is what's going to happen. It doesn't sound like we have to do anything, but that does bring another facet to the assessor, as to how the fee is affixed to somebody's property. Will this be, if a business did one of these projects, say they did solar, okay, and it was a pretty sizable situation, then that would raise the assessment on their business, possibly. And so I'd like to know how he feels about it. If he sees pluses, if he sees minuses. little catches that might be there that we wouldn't think about, but would put a red flag or a green flag to him. You know, I'd like to see how the collector feels about it as well. So, but it doesn't sound like a bad program. It just, are there, I would ask, maybe you know this, you know most things. No, I would like to know, are there other companies in Clay County that do something similar to this?
I don't know particular to Clay County. I can tell you Kansas City has had these
Okay,
projects.
okay.
But in all honesty too, I don't know to the extent of projects in Kansas City that have been done in Clay County. I couldn't answer that question.
Okay,
But there have been in Kansas City, and I'm sure you guys have done some of those.
Yes, we've done over 70 projects statewide. We've done several within Clay County. Just spoke to Liberty City Council.
Where?
In the city of Liberty.
Oh, okay.
There's a project underway
Oh, okay.
utilizing PACE through Show Me PACE. And I would say, if your question was companies as in people or organizations like my own that are doing PACE, so we're not a company technically, it's a political subdivision, right? It's a statewide political subdivision that you're opting into. There is one other that we do not operate within or operate with, right? I said we administer, MEI, the nonprofit, administers Show Me PACE, a statewide political subdivision, and then 2 local subdivisions, the one that covers just St. Louis City and one that covers St. Louis County. There's another statewide one called the Missouri Clean Energy District. They do the exact same thing we do in the sense of at least following that law. I think our programs are different, but we definitely follow that law, offer PACE financing, clientele would be the same. To your other question, I would say we did meet with staff of the county, including the collector. I do not believe that the assessor was at a meeting. I have to go back at look at my notes, but I know the collector was there. And so we went through their concerns and made sure that we were able to clearly explain how our process works comparative to yours and how there is no connective tissue. And to your example, whether it's PACE or they get a loan from Kansas State Bank, when a property is going to make an improvement, at some point when they are reassessed at the county schedule, that improvement is going to be made known, and then there's going to be a valuation differential for that property. The same thing will happen for PACE, because it's just an improvement on that property.
Okay. I just think that we need to cover all bases, you know, so we make sure that everybody's happy when we agree to something. But it sounds like it could be a benefit, and that's the main thing to our businesses. They can get every break they can get, so.
We haven't had one jurisdiction opt out. So even if they hadn't had a project done. So I'd lend that to the program is working, and we try and get it as active wherever we can. The only clarifying point that I would mention, and it's not us pushing it, but the property owner, again, is looking for adoption this month, so they can then start the process now. If it waits till next year, we'd be fine with it. It's the property owner who wants to get the document signed and the, I think the components ordered, so under the ITC, it is begun and therefore can be allowed under that credit. So again, we are fine either way, but on behalf of that property owner, that is their request.
Yeah, and we're missing, as you can see, we're missing a couple of bodies today, so, for the full commission to be here and then to get the feedback from the assessor, I think that would be wise on all our parts. So, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Wagner?
Thank you. Just to add a couple of points related to Commissioner Carpenter's question and speaking to that residential piece. So a former collector, Lydia McAvoy, was very much pushing back on the program, and I spoke to her a couple of times. And so I'm giving you almost 9-year memories, so if she's watching, she can correct me down the line. But as I recall, the issue was really more of what position, if someone were ever foreclosed on, what position does this take as far as a loan and appearing on the property tax? It was her opinion at the time, and I won't say if she was right, if she was wrong, it was just, her position, that that could cause a great deal of confusion if essentially someone paid their property tax but did not pay their payment under this program, then could they be foreclosed on for that reason? And I think part of the further concern that she had, and I think there's always some validity to this, and you kind of speak to it a little bit, Josh. In many ways, the people who were pushing this program for residential many times were contractors who would say, oh, you need a new roof, you want a new window and door package, you want this, you want that, oh, well, we have this for you. And so I think there was a little bit also of that consumer protection concern that not only then stimulated her interest, but I think a number of collectors around the state, particular to the residential component in PACE, and the fear that it could be abused and abused fairly easily. That, in my opinion, has since been remedied, and now you have the commercial piece here. And I would say that, even if you found someone who ultimately down the line, had a mortgage on their property, lost that property, from a lender's point of view, the structure's been improved, and so there's a little less down the line risk, I think, because of it. But I think to Mr. Campbell's point, and full disclosure, I sit on the MCED board. I think I told you that, so you knew that coming in. I'm unaware of any loan that has been done through that entity where that has had to be foreclosed upon because of the due diligence, because of the underwriting. It's just a different animal when it comes to that sort of issue. And then to address the issue with the assessor, which is totally fine. Usually the assessors don't touch this. So I don't expect our assessor to say much to it, but this is discussion, and if we're okay with talking about this again next week and maybe taking some action, we can certainly get his action. Usually in all of this, it's the collector that needs to be happy, and Barbara's sitting there. I don't know if you're happy. I hope you're happy, but but that's usually where the question comes. And so, at least as far as the process goes, if the collector feels good about where this is at, then usually, from the county perspective, we should be okay. So I'll just leave it at that. That's what I got.
By the way, I was here on the commission at that period, and my memory agrees with your memory, which should worry you completely. But yes, that was one of the things that was raised as a matter of concern. Also, during that period, during the time when that issue was being discussed, I participated in a meeting of Missouri counties, along with my fellow commissioners throughout the state, and there were certainly mixed concerns about how that would operate. Granted, it was residential, which was one of the main concerns, and also it was a relatively, it was a pretty much unknown quantity. And so that was one of the things that certainly played into my decision-making, was to hear how other counties were approaching it, how they were considering it, and if they were already participating, what their experiences were. So all that to say, while it is, I think, good context to have, I think it bears repeating to say that this is a different enough program to where it really stands on its own when it comes to how we should be considering it. And I don't know if the collector has anything that she wants to add to this. You don't need to. I'm not. Okay. If there are no other questions or comments on the commission at this point, I think Commissioner Lawson made a good point, and that is we have two members who are not here, and I think would benefit by hearing a lot of this information before we go forward. Generally, when we go through this exercise and we have a full complement of commissioners, we will then instruct staff to take some action. And I guess what I'm looking for is maybe consensus or some suggestion from the commission as to whether we should take this up once again when our two fellow commissioners are here and able to fully engage, and when the administrator is here. Commissioner Wagner, you were looking for recognition.
Yeah, thank you. I'll make a suggestion, right, wrong, or otherwise. Since it is really the potential project that really has the urgency here, and I don't know what the project is, I don't know who that's for, but it does strike me that next Thursday is our last Thursday. And I think it makes some sense to know who is requesting, and to Commissioner Lawson's request to get the assessor's opinion. I would suggest putting it on the regular agenda for next week, and if those answers come forward, then we can take action at that time. If there's still a question, then we can take it up in 2026. But I want to be cognizant that there is a project that is looking for action sooner rather than later, and at least put us in a position to take action if next week we have our answers and we are satisfied and can then move forward to help that project along. That would be my suggestion.
And I think that's a good observation. Like I say, also because our administrator also I would like to have available to make some comments. Commissioner Carpenter, if you want to go ahead, and then I will restate what Commissioner Wagner has outlined to the best of my ability, and then see if that is the consensus of the commission. But please go right ahead.
Yeah, no, cool. I think I was basically just going to agree. You know, if we're going to do it this year, obviously that means next week. And I think it would be okay, you know, even from Commissioner Lawson's perspective, I hope, that because if we draw up the ordinance between now and next week, we'll still have a full discussion on it next week, in which we can hash out any questions and ultimately still vote it down if, you know, if we're not comfortable to move forward. So that remains an option, and that gives us the option of passing it if we choose to. So I personally am good with that if everybody else is.
Okay, so would so am I right that the consensus of the commission is that we instruct staff to go forward with this to prepare it for the 18th? And I would further recommend that if staff could reach out to the two absent members and try to make sure that they are up to speed and have the same information we have, so that they have the best knowledge possible for next week's meeting. If that, does that sound kind of like what you were?
Yeah, I think just making sure it's on the regular agenda so everyone knows we're going to discuss it. And then my question to you, Mr. Campbell, is I don't know if the project or the applicant of that project has given any reason why either they weren't here, or if we think they can be here, or if they can communicate in some fashion either through the administrator's office or similarly just reaching out to the commission to say, I'm the project, here's what I'm trying to do. I think that always provides a reason for urgency. So if they can, or if you can state what that is, I think that would be helpful.
I'll be honest, my brain is, I've got a gap right now as to who they are. I know I've got it on my phone. I know we've shared it with staff and talked with them. And I know we've shared it with the property owner. Candidly, we don't, unless they have an existing relationship, we often don't tell them to like go and urge the county, because sometimes they'll like bug you all too much, and it's like this process takes time. But I can 100% tell you that we will talk with the property owner tomorrow, let them know that they are welcome to communicate with each of you and with staff, and I will re-verify with staff who the property owner is, the contact information for them. But again, I'm just having a
No, that's fine.
moment.
I think we're going to talk about this next week anyway, so.
Okay.
And also, it helps to have a tangible example of how this will unfold, not just a hypothetical, but a real-world application of how this would unfold, not just for this particular property owner, but potentially for other property owners.
Certainly.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and maybe I didn't hear it. I didn't understand, what's the urgency of getting this done this year, or this month?
It is a solar project, and they want to utilize the ITC, the tax credit. And under the changes on the federal side, those type of projects need to have certain actions taken before the end of this year. So in that sense, components purchased, contracts entered into, they would need the PACE funding to be able to purchase those components. So they're looking to be able to do that within the last 2 weeks. And if PACE isn't passed, then they have to find some other type of financing, which this is their preferred one at this moment.
And those don't apply next year?
No.
Those tax credits, they
they're-
expire? Or?
They're being withdrawn. There's a time limit, a roll down on those. So you have to take certain action within this calendar year, and then you actually have to have it, I believe it's built, or poles in the ground by July of next year. I could be wrong. It's something like that.
But I will just put out that I think next week's going to be a busy agenda. We're going to put it full, so don't know how long that's going to go next week. And I will also tell you, I don't fully comprehend what this is. I'm going to need more time to digest this myself, because I don't understand exactly what this is. You guys have experience with it. Even after the presentation, I really don't understand the details of what this is all about, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to need more time to digest that myself. So if there's any more information I can get before we actually talk about it, I'll need that.
I think it'd be nice if we could all get whatever information, whatever additional information we can. If there's anything you can forward to the director and in turn to the administrator, that any additional information that you think would be helpful that we did not cover tonight, or even, like I say, the material here that is in your PowerPoint, I think us having that in hand is probably not a bad thing to do. And I do understand Commissioner Johnson's, trying to get his arms around this thing, and it's not necessarily, it's something that you've got to kind of work around with a little bit and get the idea of what's going on. So I totally understand and sympathize with that. Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. I was just going to verify one point, and I will say this, and this is not meant to be a political statement, but again, that comment related to the tax credit that this person wants to use, that truncation of its availability was one of the consequences of the big, beautiful bill, if I remember correctly.
Yes, Commissioner.
So a lot of those tax credit opportunities got moved from a future date when you had to do these projects to the end of this year. So just to point out that the urgency that is being brought up here is a consequence of the passing of that, and therefore that opportunity leaves if there's not some substantial action on the project that's taken before the calendar end of this year. So just to kind of point to this is why it's coming in this way.
Circumstances beyond our
Correct.
control, of course. Commissioner Lawson?
I'm glad that Commissioner Johnson said that. I think I'm a pretty smart cookie, but there were some things in here that just didn't quite, I didn't quite grasp. So I hope that when you come back next week, we could get into the weeds just a little bit, because I want to make sure that what we do as the county is going to benefit a group of people, the businesses, whatever, and exactly how, and make dead certain sure it brings no negative occurrences to this commission. And I just want it all kind of out on the table, because it just came up so quickly, and all of a sudden we're looking at this, ready to pass it and go on down the road. I'd like to, is there a website or something you have that I could go on this week and take a good look at?
Yes, Commissioner. I would advise you to look either at our own website, which is showmepace.org.
Okay,
Or you can go to a national site called pacenation.org.
I'll just do this, the other one.
Okay,
So just say it again.
showmepace.org.
Okay. Show me pace, good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Certainly. And please know, I do try and walk the line between being able to stand up here and talk to you for literally 3 hours on this versus knowing that you have an agenda. But I will definitely get you more information, and I'm happy to answer any, have conversations over the phone or via email. But I will get staff additional details, technical stuff, so you all can look at it before next week.
Director, do you feel as though that you've got enough information to convey to the administrator the sense of what the commission would like to see?
Yes, I do, and any information Mr. Campbell sends forward, we'll make sure that gets distributed to everyone.
Very good. Thank you. Well, if there are no further comments, then we will consider the discussion closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
That concludes discussion items. That brings us to our consent agenda. Director, if you could take care of that, please.
Yes, we have 4 items on the consent agenda tonight. The first one is 25-359. It is approving our payments for the period of November 27th through December 5th. We are at year end, so you will be seeing a high volume today and next week because we must meet the auditor's deadline. We currently have 328 invoices for $1,245,582.36. 2025-368 is approval of a maintenance agreement for our automated weather observation system to DBT Transportation for $6,010. 2025-369 is a transfer within a fund for $200,000, which is to provide adequate funds to boarding of prisoners for the rest of the year. 2025-370 approves the Clay County Collector's Reports, recommendations for tax sales and surplus of specific parcels, and that's on behalf of the collector. And those are the 4 items for the consent agenda.
And as commissioners are aware, if any commissioner would like to separate one or more of those issues from the consent agenda for individual consideration, this would be the time to say so. With that, Commissioner Johnson?
Move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's consent agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. That brings us to our regular agenda. We have 2 items on this evening's regular agenda, 2025-360. Director?
Yes, 2025-360 approves the invoice payments to the Clay County Prosecutor's Office. We have 5 for a total of $2,035.02.
Commissioner Johnson?
Move to approve 2025-360.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2025-360. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
yes,
Motion passes 4-0.
The second final item onto this evening's regular agenda is 2025-372. Director?
2025-372 is requesting an approval of a grant application for the rehabilitation of Rocky Hollow Lake for water resources, and we have Director John Davis here to speak.
Please proceed.
John Davis, Parks Director. Our new grants coordinator, Cynthia Connors, found some potential grant funding with the Army Corps of Engineers with the Water Resources Development Act. And what we're looking to, it's a project proposal, is on what we're asking is to submit this project was originally, we were looking at it in the height of ARPA funding, but it's to dredge Rocky Hollow Lake. It's, we've had the lake since 1970. It's probably the sediment buildup over the years, they're estimating is about 8 feet deep, and it's probably at half of its capacity of what it should actually hold. So this grant and project proposal to them would be to either restore it fully or do a substantial or a partial. And it just depends on how much money they give us and what we want to spend, of what option we would take. So we're probably looking at application process. If we submit, we would be notified sometime next year, and it's probably not funding until 27 or 28, we're estimating. So, you have any questions?
Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you, and thanks, John and Cynthia, for identifying this. I'm sorry, I can't remember when I looked at it. Is there a local match that we have to provide should we get the grant?
The feasibility study, if I'm correct, is 50% local match, and then the rest of it would be 35% if the actual project, but we can also do in-kind match and do work ourselves.
Okay. And then
I get that right?
well, give her a chance to shine, John. Come on.
All right.
Give her a chance.
Cynthia Connor, grant coordinator. The project would be broken down into two phases. First, the feasibility phase, and the first $100,000 would be paid for by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. After that, it would be a 50-50 split, and they would allow us part of that 50% to be in-kind services. If it's decided to move forward with the construction and dredge the lake, then it would be 35% we would be responsible for. And again, they would allow for in-kind services for a part of that.
But the time frame that we're talking about would be 27, 28, so not what is being contemplated in this current budget discussion, but if we were to receive it, then you could include it in future budgets for the commission. So, okay.
Correct.
Cool, thank you.
Commissioner Lawson.
Yeah, I just wanted everybody, if I just introduced myself to her today, but we never had the opportunity to formally meet you. So welcome to the team, first of all. So we're happy, very happy to have you. Question, maybe split between you and John. Currently, we're doing some major work out there. I see it every time I drive by. How long is that anticipated to take?
Rocky, we're just re-graveling the roads, and it's just about done.
Pardon?
It's just about done.
Oh,
We should be
okay.
finished. It's just resurfacing the top of the roadways. It's nothing real major.
Well, there's some big piles of dirt out there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is going to be after the fact. Then this will be project 2.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Commissioner Johnson.
And what's the estimated total cost for this project?
Well, there's 3 possible scenarios. And
Worst
this was-
case scenario. We
the
go all
worst
out,
case-
we get it all done.
Okay, study was done in 2021, so prices have probably changed, but that's why they would do another feasibility study. But worst case scenario, full dredge they're estimated at 5.8 million.
Say that again?
5.8 million for full dredge. That would be remove all sediment.
Yeah.
Partial or a substantial portion, they would do about a full dredge is about 236,000 cubic yards. 125,000 cubic yards they estimate would be 4 million. Partial dredge of about 60,000 cubic yards would be about 3.1 million.
Okay, I'll tell you, for 5.8 million, I got a jet ski and a shovel. I'll take care of that myself for 5.8 million.
You're going to be out there for a while.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Well, just on that point, is it your opinion as park director that even with so ultimately we'd be on the hook for 35% of that? That's the bottom line?
Yes.
Okay, and you feel that this is an important enough project that it's worth that type of expenditure, because obviously it's a lot of money. And also, second, Commissioner Lawson's so thrilled to have you on the team. Getting a full-time grant person is something we've been talking about for quite some time. So glad that we finally made it happen. So thank you. But obviously that's a big number. So, is it worth it? Is this a high enough priority to justify that in your view?
It is. It is a flood control lake. It was built, it holds the tributary to Williams Creek. Williams Creek feeds Fishing River. It's a sister lake to Watkins Mill. It's all the same project. So yes, it's worth it. It is a flood control lake and it does its job. But we need to make sure it continues to do its job.
Yeah. Okay, and just to clarify on the 5.8 million, Obviously, it might be a little higher now, so, you might be talking 7 million or something like that. And we would be on the hook for 35% of that in that scenario.
Correct.
So that is 3 million maybe at the high end.
But there's also in-kind match if we can do work ourselves, all that, so.
Very good.
We just have to.
And if we were to be awarded the grant, it doesn't compel us to move forward on that expenditure? We would still have some optionality?
It does not. We could back out if we had to, like every.
Okay. Thanks.
Also, welcome. We talked a little bit briefly, but we are certainly happy to have you here because these are the kind of projects that we need to be looking at. Some assistance and grants are going to be an extremely important part going forward of what we try to do. So where would we, at what point, if we don't do something about this, at what point, and I don't know that it would be necessarily rendered unusable, but it's clearly not going to get better on its own. So at what point do we see it kind of hitting a point of almost no return?
I don't have a timeline on that.
Okay.
I mean, we've had it since 1970. We've never dredged it. So it's built up since then. They're estimating probably half capacity. So that, and also looking at the floodgate on it, make sure it's still in functional capacity as well, so.
Well, I think there are two things that are certain. One is it's not going to get better on its own. And two is at whatever date we do it, the further out that we put this date, the more expensive it's going to be. It isn't going to get cheaper and it isn't going to get better.
Correct.
Commissioner Lawson?
How does this, I know that they're in the process of our park study, but is this grant time sensitive? And if we don't do it like right away, could we lose it? Or would it be wise to have the study come back to see where this fits into that?
It probably needs to be on the list, at least if this is just a project proposal for the Corps and to be on the list. So they could look at our project and say no, or they could say yes. But at least we're on the list. Now for the master plan, I would tell you, I've pulled projects that we've had sitting on the shelf, and this is one of them, and they have been given this information, so they know what it is.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner Wagner?
Thank you. I would just note, because this used to happen a lot with some of the neighborhoods that have small lakes here in the Northland, where they have to go dredge them, because when it quits working, then the water goes out, and at some point, DNR or someone comes calling and saying, hey, you got to dredge your lake, and if you don't have the money, you are in trouble. So it's really a natural resource maintenance kind of thing to me, so it makes a whole lot of sense to go for it. But I will again note that in kind, as you said, is very much possible to dig into that cash amount. So I am looking forward to the day when Commissioner Johnson gets out his truck and his shovel, and then I will refill this cup with some popcorn, and I will watch him in action, saving the county some dollars, one scoop at a time. So I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. You get 12 more months of this, by the way. But I'm all for it. Sounds really good. Let's go for it.
I would personally be willing to pass the hat so that we can buy Commissioner Johnson the largest shovel that we possibly can, and so that he can go forward. But, I'm going to recognize Commissioner Johnson now so he can speak for himself on that point.
Thank you. And for the record, I'm not doing it to save the county money. I'm doing it so I can keep the money. So just for clarification, this isn't any kind of approval for any project. This is just approval to submit for the grant. And
Yes.
we'll find out what we get, and I'm all for submitting for as many grants as we can, whenever we can, and then we'll see what we get and decide what to do once we get it. So with that, I move that we approve 2025-372. Is there any box to check on this one? There's no box to check on this one, right? No. Okay.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2025-372. Further discussion. I would just underscore what's been brought up and what Commissioner Johnson just said, and that is this is just to apply for the grant. And of course, as the director said, we can, if we choose to, back out of it at any point. So this does not commit us, but this does put us in play to get this grant, and we can always walk it back should it be necessary.
Correct.
Very well. If there's no further discussion, Commissioner, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you both. That concludes regular agenda. Next, our county administrator comments. Director, do you have anything you'd like to put in?
Yes, we have 2 meetings coming up next week. We start on Monday, December the 15th at 2 o'clock. We are in budget hearings again from 2 to 5. And then next Thursday will be our last commission meeting for this year. That is on Thursday, December the 18th at 6 p.m. Both of those meetings are held in this room. And I also, Director Jacobs gave us a quick update before the meeting that we now have for Senate Bill 190, 13,400 available bills online. So there has been a huge amount of progress made in the last few days.
Thank you for the update. This brings us to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Lawson?
Nothing.
Commissioner Wagner? Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Carpenter? Okay. I'm sorry, did you?
It's up to you.
It's up to me. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a quick comment. If you want to jump back in, since you were tentative, I'll give you a placeholder on that. Well, obviously, we are approaching Christmas. We have another meeting. Something that I put next to my nameplate is a small piece of artwork. It is basically what my cousin basically said was, everybody can use a little Jesus. So I got a little Jesus. And I put him up there in part because of the season, but also in part because there are some political subdivisions that are not friendly to religious displays. It's just my way of saying Clay County is friendly to religious displays of religious beliefs. That is, you don't stop having that freedom just because you work for the government. And it's small, but I just wanted some small reminder that we still enjoy freedom of religion, and that to the maximum extent that we can manage it, that is exactly what we should be about, is indeed defending and sometimes displaying tangible manifestations of those freedoms that we enjoy, for a couple of centuries, and hopefully for a lot more time than that. Commissioner, do you have anything you wanted to? No. All right. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.